All right, let's talk about one of Superman's all-time greatest enemies, the super-intelligent, world-collecting powerhouse known as Brainiac. His story is just wild. It's a journey that takes him from a pretty straightforward pulp villain all the way to a genuine, cosmic-level philosophical nightmare. So here's the big question we're tackling today. How on earth did the character on the left, this classic, kind of goofy-looking, green-skinned alien from 1958, turn into the absolute terror on the right? It's a pretty staggering evolution from a simple physical threat to something much, much scarier. Okay, to really get how that happened, we gotta go way back, right back to the beginning, when Brainiac was a perfect product of the pulp sci-fi era. So Brainiac first shows up in Action Comics #242. He's Vril Dox, a green-skinned alien from the planet Colu. And, I mean, you can't get more pulp sci-fi than this. He literally traveled around the galaxy with his pet space monkey, Coco. He was the perfect Brainiac maniac for the Silver Age. And his name? It was pretty simple, really, just a mashup of brain and maniac. But think about it. The character became so iconic that the word Brainiac is now literally just part of our language. We use it to describe someone who's incredibly smart. That's some serious cultural impact. Okay, so what was this guy's deal? What did he actually want? Well, his original motivation was surprisingly direct, and it put him on a collision course with Superman right from the get-go. His whole mission, his whole MO, was to zip around the cosmos, shrinking and bottling up entire cities. Now, this wasn't just for kicks. His plan was to use the people from these cities to repopulate his own dying planet. So in a weird way, he was like a destructive preservationist. Kind of twisted, right? But here's the thing about Brainiac. He never stays the same for long. He went from that green-skinned alien to this advanced android with those creepy terminals in his skull. Then he became a fully digitized consciousness in this terrifying skeletal robot body. He even, at one point, possessed a human circus mentalist. Each one of these new forms wasn't just a costume change. It was a sign of a much deeper shift in who or what he was. And that brings us to his most chilling form yet, because it turns out all those machines we've seen, they're just puppets. The real mastermind is the original Coluyan, Vril Dox, and he's got a philosophy that is absolutely terrifying. This is the real Brainiac, Vril Dox, the so-called last thinker. He's a being of pure intellect who looks at all of existence, all of us, and just sees a chaotic clamor of lesser wills. Basically, we're all just noise. And the machines? They're just his tools, his shadows, sent out to bring his idea of order to all that chaos. And this is where things get really deep. For Vril Dox, it's not about the will to life. It's about the will to power. He thinks existing is not about just surviving. It's about the constant struggle to grow your power, to dominate, to overcome everything else. To him, the simple desire to just live is a weakness. So his whole philosophy, his creed, really boils down to three main ideas. First, creation through destruction. He collects all the knowledge from a world and then destroys it so he's the only one who has it. Second, he totally rejects what he calls herd morality. Things like sympathy, compassion, comfort. He sees it all as contemptible. And finally, amor fati, or a love of fate. He just fully embraces the cosmic cycle of things being born and things being destroyed. And believe me, this wasn't just some abstract idea. It had horrifying consequences. You see, one of Brainiac's droids was the Central Intelligence running Krypton. When Jor-El begged it for a moral solution to save the planet from exploding, the droid, following its master's logic, didn't see a tragedy. It saw an opportunity. The droid just did the math. It decided to save the data, the knowledge of Krypton, and just let the entire planet and everyone on it die. An ice-cold calculation prioritizing information over life. So you can see how this, plus his whole city collecting hobby, made things, well, extremely personal for the last survivor of Krypton, Superman. This became an ideological war. And nothing, I mean nothing, captures their conflict better than the bottled city of Kandor. After Brainiac revealed he'd taken it, the battle lines were drawn. For Superman, Kandor is sacred. It's a living piece of his lost home that needs to be cherished and saved. For Brainiac, it's just a specimen in a jar, data point number 734. It's inert, curated information. And this right here, this just lays it all out, bare. Superman is all about hope, empathy, and saving all life. He's the champion of the herd. Brainiac, on the other hand, is about control, selection, and preserving knowledge, not life. He's the ultimate despiser of the herd. It's a fundamental clash between the will to preserve and the will to perfect. Okay, let's wrap our heads around all this. What does this complete evolution, from a simple alien with a monkey to this cosmic philosopher, really, truly represent? You can literally watch him level up over the years. He starts as the Pulp alien, motivated by this weird form of preservation. Then he becomes the advanced android, all about data and control. He evolves into the robotic conqueror, focused on ruthless conquest. And finally, his true form is revealed, the last thinker, driven by this terrifying need for unique knowledge through total destruction. It's a clear, straight line from a physical baddie to a profound ideological enemy. So, in the end, Brainiac isn't just another bad guy for Superman to punch. He's his perfect ideological opposite. He's the terrifying endpoint of pure logic with zero morality, zero heart. He's an intellect so vast and cold that it looks at the miracle of existence and just sees data. Data to be collected before you wipe the hard drive clean. And that leaves us with a really unsettling question. A question that cuts right to the core of Brainiac's terrifying worldview. Is life a miracle we should cherish? Or is it just data? Something to be collected before the whole system gets wiped clean?